I know that people would look at my career, teacher, assemblyman, transportation official, and then deputy secretary at HUD, and maybe they said this guy couldn't keep a job. But the fact of the matter is, I was really doing the same job in each of those various agencies and departments because it was all about providing for people.
Al has had such a long-term commitment to public service and to housing for decades.
His lasting legacy is a unconditional commitment to improving housing in our communities.
So I first met Al when he was in the Assembly, and Al has always been, was then, and continues to be a champion of home ownership.
Well, I was elected in 1971. This was the beginning point of choices for neighborhoods. Some were sinking and some were rising, and the challenge for all of us in elected life at that time was to preserve communities.
He is truly a public policy expert spanning several decades. Not only is Al an expert in housing policy, he knows transportation policy as well.
We always used to say at the Department of Transportation that every trip has an origin and a destination. Well, the destination for most neighborhood residents is wherever their job is, and you need a safe, affordable transit system to get people there if they're going to be able to keep those jobs. When I got to HUD, I had a reputation of being able to deliver programs, to make the programs work better, and that's basically what I tried to do every day when I was in government. One of the proudest programs that I helped create was the Affordable Housing Program. We put a team together at HUD and at the Federal Housing Finance Board to create this program, which takes 10% of the profits of the 12 home loan banks and uses it to fund affordable housing.
Al's legacy here in the bank is certainly about the growth of the programs over the years. The Affordable Housing Program, the First Home Club, and the Community Lending Programs. When Al first began with the bank, the AHP program was in its infancy, but through Al's initiative, he grew and expanded that program significantly.
He's been able to carry out that great mission at the same time that he's been able to shape the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York to be able to service its members and service its communities with a standard of excellence that is unmatched within the Federal Home Loan Bank system.
Al's work during the foreclosure crisis was critical to the city. He was a leader in helping to think about how do we help the families through foreclosure counseling.
Al and the entire Federal Home Loan Bank of New York staff provided a lot of financial support and stability to HTC by purchasing our bonds and coming up with a product that allowed us to continue to stay open for business during that financial crisis.
I had met Al on occasion over the past few years, but it really wasn't until he was selected as a member of the Bipartisan Policy Center Housing Commission, and that's really where I got to know Al. Al's contributions were invaluable. He's an active listener. Al rarely spoke in the early stages of the deliberations. And then when it really became important, that's when Al would weigh in. And when Al speaks, everybody listens.
This building has really become an anchor for the neighborhood. You really come to appreciate the wisdom that people had who were putting together this project 20 years ago, who could see that the neighborhood was going to change and how important it was to lock in affordability when they did.
Al was just a superb advocate for the project. So we had to scrounge for financing. Dime Savings, at that time chaired by Dick Parsons, was the construction lender, and he and Al DelliBovi provided the largest grant ever that had been given to a development, and that made everything fall into place.
We're convinced that you just don't build a community from bricks and mortar. You must support that community with a lot of social amenities, which includes our after-school program, our educational programs, our youth programs.
Being in this building, it's about opportunity. And being as an immigrant, you want to try to take advantage of those opportunities.
Housing doesn't get done by one person. Results come from a team effort. And I've been very fortunate in always having a very good team.
Al DelliBovi is such a perfect candidate for the Clara Fox Award. They had a very close relationship. I know Clara greatly admired Al. She would put him to work on all kinds of projects.
Clara was such a special person, and she taught every one of us that the best thing we can do is produce good, safe, decent, affordable housing. And the next thing we can do is do it again.
In all my walks of life, I think that there's always a patrino, a godfather. And in the housing industry, I think, Al, you're one of those guys.
Mr. DelliBovi, I'd like to thank you a lot for giving myself and my parents this opportunity.
And best wishes in your retirement, even though I know you'll continue to be a force in affordable housing in the future.